In today's episode, I'm going to share with you exactly how to create and launch your meta ads profitably in 2025. I've spent the past 5 years working with hundreds of entrepreneurs and businesses, helping them scale their income and their impact using meta ads. And my team and I, through our agencies, have actually generated more than $15 million working with clients. And it's crazy to think about it. But in this video, I really want to share with you what we've used, what we've leveraged to really allow our client to have those incredible results. And when I say $15 million, that's with an average ROI of 4 or 5x on client working with us. And I really want to break down this episode for you, whether you are in a space where you are just starting out with meta ads and you are wondering what's the best way to get in the game and actually structure your account, your campaign, how to go about creating your creatives to have the maximum results. Or maybe you are an OG, you've been running ads for a while and you realize that so much has changed since 2025 with Meta Andromeda, with iOS 15, and you feel like, okay, we've been doing this for a while and our conversion have just dropped. It's not working as well as it used to work in the past. What are we going wrong? This video might actually is going to give you answer in terms of what you can do to get better results. And I've broken this down into 6 main parts so that we can, and there's gonna be timestamp in the description so you can just go wherever you need more support on. And so the first part of this video is going to be all about the business manager setup, because that's the biggest, most important part when it comes to having a successful meta ad strategy. Then we're going to dive deep into ads manager and account structure. How do you want to structure your campaign to actually have the best ROI in 2026? Then we're going to dive deeper into campaign objectives, the differences which you want to choose depending on your business goal, because that's one area where I see a lot of just disconnect, where business owners have a goal, but the campaign objectives that they choose is not aligned with the goal that they have. So how do we change that? We are then going to talk about your targeting, your tracking, your placement. How do you make sure that those are optimized for maximum visibility and conversion, of course, without impacting your profit? And then we're going to finalize with how do you go about creating your ads and publishing them. So it's gonna be full tutorial. Grab something to drink, get ready to take some notes. And if you have any questions whatsoever, of course, leave them in the comment section. I will be happy to answer them. I've also created a guide for you that you can go through if you actually want to even get better results and maybe follow along, or you want more resources when it comes to getting the most out of your ad strategy. So there's gonna be a link in the description for you to download your guide. Is absolutely free. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get started. I'm gonna share my screen here to show you the first step when it comes to succeeding with your meta ad strategy. So let's dive in. So here we are. You'll start by going on to the so you have your Facebook account, which is where we start out in. So if I come here, I go to facebook.com. So here you have your Facebook profile, right? And typically on your Facebook profile, you're gonna have your pages that you manage that show up here. If you don't have a business manager, maybe you're starting this from scratch, it's the first time for you, you can always go on to Meta Business Suite. You can just type in on Google Meta Business Suite, and you're gonna land on this page where you actually want to log in. And it's going to allow you to log in into your Meta Business Suite. And the Meta Business Suite, for instance, if I go onto this page, which is like one of our client business pages, if I go here, actually, I click on switch for me to be like the owner of the account. Here, I'm going to land onto the page. So this is where you want to be. Now, here you have the button Meta Business Suite that you can also click on. So you can either go directly from metabusinesssuite.com, or you can do it from you see here it says business.facebook.com. This is what it's going to look like. And the same is going to happen if you log in from this page. Now, once you are in this view, this is really where Facebook allows you to have an overview of what's happening on your pages, both on Facebook and on IG. And so from here, you want to click on settings. Setting here is going to allow you to get inside your ads account. And we are going to actually be building your ad inside your business manager and inside a specific ad account. So as I click in here, just taking a minute to load. I'm going to click on all tools here, this little icon right here, and I'm just going to go inside Ads Manager. Now you see I've moved from being in the Meta Business Suite to going into the Ads Manager, because this is where we're actually going to be creating the Ads Manager. Now, a couple of things are very important when you are inside your Ad Manager. You want to think of who you want to add onto the account to help you manage your ads. Maybe you are not going to be the one running the ads. Maybe you've hired an agency, or you are working with someone in your team that's going to guide you through that process. So if you want to look at your settings, add your payment method, or even add your page, you actually want to come here again, the hamburger icon, you click on here, you go on to business settings. And from there, you're going to be able to make different changes. So this is going to ask me to log in. So I'm just gonna do that. To confirm my identity. This is one of our demo accounts. So just doing that. And yeah, it's very important for you to be able to access the backend, because that's really what you're going to be working with client when it comes to really giving them access to your tools, or working even with your team. So I'm just going to come back now that I have the access. So this is actually where you have your pages, your accounts. And so here you have people. Under people, this first section, it's really where you actually want to add your team. Whether that's your your clients, whether that's people that you're working with. So under people, that's where you want to add them. Then here under pages, this is where you want to add your page if you don't have a page already. Again, this is a demo account. That's why it says you can use this business portfolio, because again, this is just for the sake of this video. But on your end, you should actually have a section where you should be able to add. Here is this button. You click on add. You click on add an existing Facebook page, and here you're just going to add in the page. So for instance, in this case, I can come here, I can select my page URL. You can also type in just the name of your page, but I'm just gonna get the page URL. I'm gonna put it in here, and here the page shows up. I'm just going to click on, I also want to add IG next. You see, both of them will be added to the portfolio. So that's already been done. That's why I'm not allowed to, continue. Then you have your ad account. This is where you want to create your ad account. You're just gonna click here on create a new ad account. If you don't have any, you type in the name of the account, your time zone, and the currency that you want to be charged in. Then once that's done, you just click on confirm and you're good to go. Again, on the IG account, Instagram account, you want to connect your Instagram accounts. Same story, you click here on ads, you connect your Instagram account, the same for your Facebook account. WhatsApp account, again, if you are running ads and you are sending people to your WhatsApp for whatever reason, and maybe you have conversion happening on WhatsApp, you definitely want to set up your WhatsApp as well, connect it here. Now, under data source, this is very important, because here on the catalog, typically I don't really look into this unless we are working with an e-com agency or an e-com business that has like a catalog on their page. Maybe they have article listed on their page, but for the most part, I will just focus on data set and pixel. This is where you want to manage your pixel and make sure that everything is set up properly. Now, coming back to those are the most important things that you want to have in mind. Also, billings and payment. Of course, here you want to set up your billings, add your credit card, add your debit card, all that good stuff. And yeah, those are the most important thing. Now, if you want to make sure that your ad account doesn't get shut down, your business manager doesn't get flagged, you also want to come here on the ad account settings, and you want to add in your business informations, because with your business information, you're basically telling Facebook, Meta, that you have a legit business that's operating and that's, good to go. So that's very important. Add your address, your address, your email, if there's a person to contact, all of those things will be found inside the ad account setting. That's very important. Now, once that's done, once you've set up your business in this area, in case you're working with an agency and you want to add them, but you want to be able to easily add them and remove them, depends on how the relationship goes. Instead of adding them here on the people, you can also add them on the partner. You will just ask them to give you their business You click here on give a partner access to your assets. And here you're gonna ask them to give them the business ID. And from there, you'll be able to actually, reach out to them and work with them. So that's about this account, because again, those things are locked because you're not even using this account for, for business. We are just using this for trading purposes. Now, once all of these are done, I'm just going to go back to my hamburger icon once again, and I'm going to go back to ads manager, because this is really where we are going to be creating your ads. So what we've just did was about the ad account setup and all that good stuff. So how do you now go about actually creating your ads, and how do you make sure that those ads are designed for maximum success? So I'm just gonna stop sharing for a minute while I log into the demo account. All right, so we are here. And the beauty about the setting on the meta ads manager is that once those are done, you're good to go. You're never going to have to worry about them ever again. So you do it once and it's just, you're set for a while. So now when we are in the ads manager, this is this section right here, you want to think about your ads manager as literally three main buckets. So you have the first bucket, which is all about your campaign. This is really about what you want to achieve, what's your goal with your campaign. Now you have this, under campaign, this is where you decide what's the primary goal of the campaign that you're creating. Now, after campaign, you have the ad set. Ad set is really the place where you want to define who you are targeting with your campaign, who are you speaking with. And then on the ad set, that's all about your creative elements, your ad copy, your videos, your images done on the ad set. So we're gonna click here to start. We're gonna click on the little button create right here. And Meta is gonna give us different options that we may have when it comes to defining a campaign objectives. A campaign objective. So there are different objectives that you might choose depending on what your goal is. And one of the biggest things which I see happen so often is that business owners choose an objective without having clarity around what's the goal that they're trying to achieve, or they confuse the objective to choose for their goal, for their business goal. So in this case, let's start with awareness. This awareness is all about showing your ads to people who are the most likely to remember them. And here, in terms of different objectives that you might go for, you have reach, brand awareness, or video views. If you are selling a digital product or you have a program for a high ticket offer, I always recommend, because that's what we do for our client and it works amazingly well, I always recommend going with the video views. So I'll have an awareness campaign and I have an objective of video views. Why? Because it allows you to build your warm audience, your invisible list, if you will. And those are people that have seen you, they will see your content, and that content is really designed to position you as an authority in your space. So the goal here is not for conversion, it's really to give value, to build that goodwill, so that when they then see your conversion campaign, they're not like, oh, who's this person? I've never seen her before. And it's typically one of the steps which I see so many business owners just overlook altogether, because they feel like it won't have any impact, but it's absolutely false, especially in an era like this one, where trust is at all-time low. We live in a trust recession. People are incredibly skeptic when they see ads online. You want to literally kind of engineer the trust that's built when someone discovers you organically. Because when someone scroll on their phone and it land on your content on their For You page or what have you, they build that trust progressively as they watch your content, they binge watch you, they stalk you on other platforms, and they just feel like, oh, I know this person, I like them, I want to buy with them. Now with ads, we are literally wanting to accelerate that process of them discovering you to them becoming a client. And what we found is that by actually having this awareness campaign as the first step in our customer journey, when we design ads for clients, it literally allows us to build that invisible list at a really low cost, and then allow us to then target those guys with our conversion campaign. Now, I wouldn't go with just reach or brand awareness, because these two are more designed for people who are more likely to remember your brand. Like, it says here, reach, yeah, you will be reaching the maximum number of people who may be interested in your brand. And with brand awareness, people who are more likely to remember your brand. So we use these one when you're working with, when we are working with huge brands. So brand like Amazon, Facebook, Snapchat, those are type of client that we might use these ones with, because they have a huge audience already, tens of millions of people that actually use and know their brand. So it makes sense to use this. But if you are, I would say under like 5-10 million, it doesn't really make sense. You want to go with video views because, again, people are watching your video. And also another advantage is that you build that invisible list that you can target on inside the Facebook page. So you're not losing data as if they clicked and they go on your landing page, because and depends on whether or not they have the tracking enabled. With iOS 15, you might not even be able to have the data, but with this one, you're able to have the entirety of anyone that has consumed your content. And depending on how long they've consumed your content, that's also a massive layer that we use to actually allow our clients to make a lot of money from that invisible list. Coming up next, we have the traffic campaign. And here you have different options about traffic. So with this campaign, you'll be sending people to a destination. That could be your website, your app, your Instagram profile, or even a Facebook event that you are hosting. And you can use it to generate link click, landing page views, Instagram profile, messenger calls. We don't really use traffic much. We only use it when we want a client to actually grow their page, when we want them to, maybe they are posting content consistently on their page, and that's conversion content. We might send traffic to their page because we know, okay, when someone discovers them, the likelihood of them actually signing up, following, and then eventually buying is quite high. So we'll do it there, but we don't really use traffic as much. Why? Because traffic here, you are asking Facebook to literally send your ads. You show your ads to people that are more likely to just click and go on the website, but not really do anything. So here you see there are link click, landing page views, Instagram profile, and all the things. But here there's a little bit of a lack of interest, a lack of action. So we like to have a campaign where we actually want the person to take a specific actions. So because here we are just sending traffic somewhere, it doesn't convert as well. So I will only use this one typically when we want to help a client grow their accounts, because maybe we want that social proof, and we still want to make sure that the follower are from targeted people that might actually convert down the line. Moving on, we have engagement. This is really where you want to get, again, that social proof, get more messages, purchases through messaging, video views, post engagement, page likes, or even responses. So this again will be where you can have video views, post engagement, conversions, calls. So here we'll typically use this engagement campaign for the video views campaign once again. Or if we want to really build social proof on a post, maybe we are running an ads and we want, before that ads really is before that ads really age, we want at the first 48 hours, 24 hours of the ads being live, we can run a post engagement campaign on that ad just to build up likes, comments, shared on that post specifically, so that as the ads last longer, that social proof is going to build up and it's going to even attract more eyeball to the profile. So also, if we want to generate conversation on Messenger with many chats or what have you, we might use to send traffic to a client IG account and have those people, maybe they send a keyword, maybe comment funnel to get more info, comment challenge to get more info. They'll do that, and they will have them in a mini chat sequence down the line. So those are the two primary ways in which we use engagement in this case. Now we have leads. Leads is where we actually want to get leads. That's quite self-explanatory. You can get lead in different formats. So whether you want them on your website in instant form, you want them just on instant form, you want them to come through Messenger, Instagram, you want to have some conversions or call, that would be good for that. So we like to use leads when we are running maybe a VSL funnel, we are running a webinar funnel, we're just running maybe a freebie funnel where we get people to go, they sign up for a lead magnet, and then we send them to something else down the line. So this is a very common objective that we like to use, because then once those leads come in, we then ascend them to the next step of the funnel. So and it works really well. We've also found that instant form work as well. There's this theory that instant form you only get shitty lead, but now with Facebook there are so many filtering options that you have, and so the qualification has become so much more evolved that you can actually get better quality lead using instant form when done right. And I'm actually do a video on that coming up on the channel. And then you have app promotion. Of course, this is for if you have an app and you want people to go and sign up for your app. And then you have sales. Sales, very clear. This is where you want your conversions. Whether you are selling a digital product, a physical product, it doesn't really matter. You are going to ask the algorithm to show your campaign to people that are the most likely to go ahead and purchase. Add to cart, check out. That this is really the objective that you want to go for. Typically, we go with conversions, and then we might define an event. Specifically might be like, purchases. It might be add to cart, depending on how our targeting process is designed. And yeah, so those are the top 6 campaign objectives that you have when it comes to actually optimizing and creating your campaign on Facebook. For the sake of this example, I'm going to go with the lead campaign, where I want people to come in, they get my freebie, and then I send them to my meet ticket offer on the back end. So I choose that, I go on to next, and it's going to open up my campaign settings. Now under campaign, this is really where I want to set up my my campaign name. So I like to have a personalized name for campaign that depends on what I'm trying to achieve. So for instance, if it's a lead about, let's say that I'm a finance coach, and the lead is 5 ways to better invest your money, or 5 ways to 10x your savings, right? I might call this freebie 10 ways to 10x, or 5 ways to 10x your savings. And you just want to make sure that I know what the campaign is about. Now here under campaign details, you have buying type, leave it as it is. Campaign objective leads, that's good. Campaign spending limit, I like to leave it as it is, because I'm going to be tracking performance and adjusting as I go. Now on the campaign budget, that is where you see it says Advantage Plus is on. With Advantage Plus, you allow Facebook to really use the machine algorithm to find your best client, and really optimize your budget and your placement in a way that's the most congruent to your campaign objective. So in this case specifically, I see campaign objective, campaign budget or ad set budget. Now the biggest difference here is that if you choose campaign budget, you are defining a budget at the campaign level, and you're asking Facebook to distribute that budget on the best opportunity they see across your campaign. So if you have one campaign beneath which you have 5 ad sets, when you decide to have your budget at the campaign level, Facebook is going to automatically attribute that budget to whichever ad set it deemed to be the most likely to give you the best result, right? That's done really with the with the algorithm. When you decide to have ad set budget, what happens? You see that thing disappeared, the budget line disappeared, because now you're asking Facebook, you know what? Let me handle it inside each ad set. I'm going to define how much I want to spend, and one of the biggest thing, and what we've seen actually work the best for our client, is that when they come in, depending on where they are in terms of their experience and how long they've been running ads actually, and how much data we have on their ad accounts, we are actually going to go with what we call the first one, CBO, which is campaign budget optimization, or ABO, which stands for ad set budget optimization. So we found that ABO works the best when we are launching a new offer, or we are starting a new on an account. Why? Because we don't have enough data to understand, okay, which ad set is designed to get the best result for this specific offer, for this specific client. So we like initially to have the same budget to each ad set, so we really give enough chance to each audience to perform independently, without Facebook, trying to attribute the budget. Because what we've noticed is that when we actually have the budget at the campaign level. And let's say that we have 3 ad sets beneath that campaign. Facebook is going to pick one ad set and just give all the budgets to one ad set. And in that case, you never really know if the other 2 had a chance. But on the other hand, when we actually decide, okay, let's split this budget across those 3 ad sets and see what happens. It allows us to have that data and see, okay, you know what? These guys they had the same creative, they had the same copy, the same budget, but just different audience pocket. We have more clarity on, okay, this is a clear winner for this offer for this client. Now, if a client comes in, they've been running ads for months, years, they have massive data on their ad account, then it makes sense to go with CBO because the algorithm already know for this account specifically, we know based on the past which type of audience is most likely to buy. So that's something that we are really meticulous about, and there's a strategy behind the way we do it, right? Now, once we come to your daily budget here, I really want to invite you to define a budget depending on how much your offer is and how fast you want results. A lot of people think about spending on ads as a waste of money or just as gambling, and I want to challenge you to think differently. Why? Because when you invest into ads, you're actually investing into your business. You're investing into learning and figuring things out and getting better. And depending on how much you invest, it's going to really impact how fast you get data on what's working and what's not working. So for instance, if I'm selling my offer for $1,500 and I'm only spending, 10 bucks a day, it's going to take me, or 20 bucks a day even, it's going to take me a whole lot longer to understand which combination of creatives, placement, audiences is going to drive the best result for me. Compared to someone that's spending 100 bucks a day, that person is going to learn 5 times faster as me. We're spending $20 a day. So I don't want you to be stingy. I want you to understand, okay, I'm investing into my company and I'm going to be learning what's working, what's not working, how I can adjust as I go along. And I think having that mindset is going to be huge for you when it comes to actually propelling your business forward. And something else as well that I want to emphasize here is that your budget is going to depend on the price point of your offer. So let's say that you are selling your offer for, again, $2,000 or $3,000, for instance, right? Because you are asking Facebook to send you a high level prospect, that's going to cost you more than someone that's selling, let's say they're selling their cups for 10 bucks on the platform, not the same prospect. And you want to realize that you actually need to spend more. So for instance, when you work with clients that are selling high ticket offers, we are starting with a minimum of $50 per day. That's like the bare minimum, but ideally we like to be at $100 a day because that allows us to have enough room to really optimize the campaign and get the best out of them. So that's when it comes to your budget. Here on the beat strategy, I like to go with highest volume, especially when I'm starting out on an account. Now, under more setting, budget scheduling, I just like to leave it as it is. Ad scheduling, here it really depends. We also like when we start, we also like to leave it as it is, just for the ad to run and let's see what happens. Instead of choosing specifically when the person is supposed to buy, that's something that used to be done a couple of years ago, but that's not really working as well nowadays. So special categories are very important if you are selling a program or a product inside that's linked to one of these categories. So financial product or services, employment, housing, social issue, and politics, elections. This is incredibly important to highlight if you are running your ads in one of these categories. So if you are, for instance, a real estate broker or a realtor, if you are a financial analyst or therapist, if you are a headhunter or you're working with an HR company, you actually want to have this selected. Why? Because if you don't, what might happen is, and we've seen that happen, we've had clients come to us and they were like, you know what, we've tried doing this and we tried running ads and our account got shut down. And when we do a deeper dive, we realize, okay, they run ads in one of these categories, but they didn't take the time to actually highlight it. And as a result, they got their account shut down, which is quite sad. So definitely highlight which category you're running your ads in to avoid any risk of getting your account shut down. So, but there are only 4, so you can really go wrong. If you aren't in one of these, you're good to go. Speaking of good to go, now we are done with at the campaign level. Let's move on to the ad set. This is really where we define who we want to see our ads. Yeah. So at the campaign level, it's all about what we're trying to achieve, and at the ads level, it's all about who we are trying to reach. Now, here again, the same with as the campaign name, I also like to personalize the lead, the ad set name. And I like to personalize it based on my targeting. So what am I going after? So in this case, again, remember we are a finance coach helping people, and we are having a freebie all about how to 5x your savings. 5 ways to 10x your savings, right? And so here on the conversions, we are going to choose and see what we have available. So you can choose to get those leads either on the website and instant form, website calls, or instant form and messenger. You can also choose a single destination. So this is if you want like multiple destination. In this case, I'm going to go with single destination. So I want to send them to only one location and see what happens there. So if we see, what we like to do is, okay, if we see we are crushing it with a single location or single destination, we might create another campaign, a duplicate of this one, where we test out website and instant form to just see, okay, what's the cost per lead? What's the lead quality like? But starting out, I like to be focused on one platform, one destination, and see what type of quality you are getting from that campaign. So I'm gonna go with website here, and then it's yes, so this is website performance goal, maximize number of leads. I'm gonna keep it as it is. And so this is my pixel. So now it's called data set. So that's what's changed recently by Facebook. It allows you to really track action that people take on your website. It's so important that you have a pixel installed, because if you don't, what's gonna happen is that people are going to land on your page and Facebook won't be able to understand how the conversion looks like, which is then going to make it harder for the algorithm to optimize and improve your campaign as time goes by. And that's something which is so fundamental, because if you don't have a pixel, you want to realize that Facebook doesn't have, once the person leaves the platform, leaves whether they saw your ads on Facebook or on IG, as they click on the ad and they land on your landing page, Facebook loses the track of that person. So it becomes incredibly hard for the algorithm to actually optimize your campaign and send you more people that look just like your best prospect, your best lead, your best client, if you don't have a pixel installed. So that's why it's even here, it's like a requirement, because it's that important when it comes to a successful ad strategy. And it takes like 3 minutes to install a pixel. It's incredibly easy. I might actually make a video too where I actually show you how to do that. And that's our pixel. Now once that's installed, we want to choose an event. So in this case, since we are going for a lead gen campaign, I'm just going to choose lead here, but you can also choose other things. So for instance, if I send them on the page and I want them maybe to fill out an application, I might choose complete registration. So it really depends on how my funnel is designed. And we literally switch from, typically we use lead, schedule, or submit application when we work with clients. Those are the three that we use the most often, depends on how the funnel looks like. Okay. So we're just gonna ignore this, because again, this isn't a demo account. Cost per result goal, we're gonna leave it as it is, because we don't have data around how much it's gonna cost us, and we don't want to kind of limit the conversions, because we've given it too much of a low target for our cost. Coming down again, this attribution setting, this looks good. Dynamic creative, I like to leave this off at the beginning, and depends on how the campaign perform, I might turn it on, but initially I always like to leave it off, because I like to again control and be able to test different creative and assess the performance of each creative. Under budget and schedule, this is where you want to define when you want to start your campaign. When do you want to start? Typically, I don't use an end date, because working with client or working with our own agency account, we always monitor the ads on a daily basis, so there's no point in adding an end date, so we don't do that. Here we've chosen ABO, ad set budget optimization. We've chosen CBO, campaign budget optimization. That's why we don't have an option here to add the budget. In case we had chosen ABO, which is set up the budget at the ads level, we'll have had an option here to add the budget, but we don't because we set that up. We set that up at the campaign level, right? And here you have our audience, which is really the juiciest part of this section. And so this is where you want to define who you are going after. There are four main ways in which you want to think about your targeting. The first one is by using a personalized audience, which is here, it's called saved audience. This is going to look like your custom audiences, meaning people that have actually taken an action with your business in the past. Maybe those could be your leads, could be your past customer, could be your people that have scheduled a call but they didn't convert, people that came to your event. That's a custom audience of people that have interacted with your audience. It might also be people that follow you on IG, that have saved your content on Facebook, that have visited your profile in the past 160 days. Those are your custom audiences that you can create to really allow you to show your ads to your warm audience. They know you, they found you, they kind of trust you, so it's easier to sell to them. Now, beside the custom audience, you also have the lookalike audiences. Those are people that look like your best prospect. Maybe they have the lookalike audience is basically where you import a list of your prospect or your client, and you ask Facebook to give you a lookalike, meaning give me an audience that looks just like these guys. It could be 1%, 2%, 3% similarity. Meaning, for instance, if I have 500 people on my customer list for over the past 5 years, I might import that list with their name, email, phone number if I have the phone number, or even the address, but the bare minimum is at least name and email. I import that onto Facebook and I say, oh, you know what, help me create a lookalike audience of these guys at 1%. Facebook is going to give me a list of 1,000 people that have the similar traits as the one that I just imported, which is incredibly powerful when it comes to optimizing your targeting. So here you can see it says custom audience. You can create a custom audience and do that. So those are two type of audiences that we like to test. Again, if you're working with a brand new business, they might not have the list, so you might not test those guys. But if they have that database, we always like to start there. Now, once so those are two ways of targeting. Now, the second way is really going with the interest. Here you have, for instance, location, you have minimum age, languages, and you can even add, your interest. Now, with interest, that's the third way where you actually define, okay, I want this location, I want this age, I want this gender, I want them to have this specific interest. So you are giving all of those directives to Facebook and allowing the algorithm to go ahead and find those specific people for you. And the fourth way is actually by using broad. With broad targeting, it's really where you just define, okay, this is the location where I want those guys to my prospect to be. Here's their age range, here's the language, and you go figure it out. So I'm going to show you how that looks like. So in this case, for instance, I'm based in Germany. So let's say here it says I might go, let's just remove Germany for a minute here, or you know what, let's just say New York. Let's just say I want to also get people in France. Why not? And so I'm just gonna select France here, and let's also say Italy. There we go. So now this ad is going to be shown by people that are in those three countries. That's good. A minimum age range, because I'm selling my saving templates or my saving guide. I want people that are at least, let's go with 25. Maybe they just got started with a corporate career. Okay. And then in terms of language, I'm only selling in English. Okay. So I'm just gonna say here English all. I could have also selected French or whatever language you want your audience to be speaking. Oh, yeah, because this is going to be aligned with the language of your offer. Of course, yeah. And now, so that's that. And then we're gonna come here, we're gonna scroll down, and we are going to click on show suggestions. This is where we even want to define a bit more our age range. So we said, okay, minimum 25, what's the maximum? Let's go here with 55. couple of years before retirement, yeah. And gender, let's go with all gender. Now, detailed targeting is where you can even add more. So if I'm doing broad targeting, I'm going to leave it as it is because again, I want to go super broad. I don't need to add any interest. If I'm doing the interest thing, I might, for instance, add here finance, just so that um so people are interested in finance. I can go there. I could also look at people maybe that are interested into financial, financial freedom, retire early. People that are into Robert Kiyosaki, things like that. So let's see. Um, okay, hold on. Yeah, Facebook has been moving a lot of interest. So for instance, in the past you could target for Robert Kiyosaki, but now that has been removed. So I can, for instance, go with personal finance books because again, these have now been included inside this interest right here. So because I know if they are reading personal finance book, it means that they want to manage, they want to improve their finance, they want to be better. And so I can have an interest stack like this that I do. What we've seen work the best with Meta and Homeda, to be honest, is actually just leave it as it is. Have one or two interest max because now your targeting really happens with your creatives. And we're gonna get into that on the third part of this video where we go into the ad section. But here inside the ad set section, you really want to think more through age range, location, and test. I would like to test a combination of broad targeting where we'll just leave it without any interest at all included here. We're gonna have one ad set that's just with a couple of interests, two, max three, stack. And we're gonna have a third one, which is going to be about, either a lookalike audience or a similar audience if you want to do a targeting. So those are the three that we like to start with, and we're good to go. We are off the races. Because again, the heavy lifting is gonna happen on the ad side. And the reason why this is the case because Meta has introduced Andromeda in 2020, started in 2024, and has been slowly introduced to different accounts, throughout 2025. And now as of 2026, all the account have it. And with Meta and Omeda, the algorithm is really focusing on having the right creative because the AI can read what you say on your video, that your text, on your transcription, on your subtitle. It can read what you say on your ad copy, obviously, and also on your image layout, your layover text. So you don't really need to do much because based on those different insights, the algorithm then goes out and finds out your best prospects, which is amazing. Now, moving onward, we are going to just go on to next here on the placement. I like to leave it I don't like to play with interest. Why? Because we have here advantage plus on, which means that the algorithm is going to automatically optimize the placement and have the ads shown to the best prospect possible. So I don't have to think about it. It's fine. It's taken care of. Device, again, leave it as it is. A platform, I leave them as it is. And once I start running ads and I start looking at the results, now I can come back and looking at my stats, my data. I can now look objectively, okay, in which placement, from which placement will we get the best conversions? And now based on that data, I can now come back and say, okay, then you know what? I'm going to turn off the audience network. I'm going to turn off a messenger or thread because I've noticed that we are not getting as much conversion from those platforms. And maybe you are spending some money there. But what we've always noticed is that when we leave these on, Facebook is not going to spend money on a placement that doesn't give you an ROI. Even if they do, it's typically just a couple of pennies. So it doesn't really matter that much. But so initially we like to leave them as it is. And as we start running the ads, after a couple of weeks, when we have enough data that's statistically significant, we like to come back and say, okay, which one do we need to turn off? Because we are just, wasting space in there. So that's all about your ads set section. Now let's move on to your ad section where you define what you show them. And this is kind of the fun part where you really want to just be creative and be strategic because again, Facebook is I say Facebook, creative is the new targeting. So we have gone from campaign at now we are at the ad level. Now here you want to select your page, of course, Facebook page and IG page. That's very important. If you are running ads on Thread, I always also advise you to connect your Thread account because Thread are really hot right now. So that can allow you to have that visibility without having much effort. Now, under ad setup, you can choose manual upload and add videos or images. What we like to do with clients is we like to have, before we get started, at least say 20 to 35 ads, which here is going to be a combination of image ads, video ads, carousel ads, testimonial ads, UGC ads, just value-driven ads, might even be like YouTube videos that we repurpose into ads. We also create AI ads. Why? Because AI is all the rage, and we've seen that those convert really well, or especially on YouTube, to be honest. So we have all of those ads, and we like to have at least, again, 25, 35 ads at least. Why? Because that data set allow us to really understand what's going to resonate the most with our audience. Also, because you want to realize that for every 10 ads that you launch, you might actually get one that actually crushes it. That's the winner. And you then need enough volume to get to those golden ads that might last you for months, because once you find an ad angle that really works, you might squeeze the juice out of it for so long. It's absolutely insane. And so we like to really start with a huge batch, so we have enough in our bank to run for a couple of weeks. Again, once that's done, we like to test those different variations and see how they perform. Very important to have it a combination, and we typically like to have we upload the videos, we upload the images, and we like to have 5. So we have 25 to 35 assets, right? And then we have 5 ad copy, and we have 5 headline that we want to test as well. So when we launch those, for each of them, we're gonna test those 5 and just see which one perform the best. And then it allows us to have a mapping in terms of combination of creatives and images that just crushes it as we move forward. And it also allows us to just learn so much more faster than if we were just starting with 1 or 2 ads. That's one of the biggest mistakes that you might actually make in 2025, is running your ads as if you were still in 2020, in 2022 and 2023. Volume here is gonna be key, and that's why we typically, when a client comes on board, we send them a tons of scripts for the videos, so that they can take a weekend, or they can take an afternoon and really record a lot of content for us, and we can run with that content for a while. And so what we like to do here, we are going to be uploading. We like to have one ads or one asset inside each ad set. I mean, inside each ad. So for instance, in this case, we have this ad, right? So inside this ad, we'll come in here, we'll go on to, let me come all the way up, where it says, we want to upload our post. So here I'm going to add the website URL. I'm going to add the display link. Browser ads on, I always like to leave these guys to none, because that's not needed. Set up creative, here I click on plus, and I click on image ad. So here I'm going to upload an image ad, and I might choose one that's optimized for feed, and also, so let me just come here, creative. So I go with the page. Let me just use this well. So I'm just gonna have a demo. So just take one of our guides. Okay. I'm just gonna have this is my landing page, and I always leave promotion off, side links off, very important. I'm gonna turn this off because it's not really it's more distraction than anything else. I'm going to next, and now I define what my creative. So here again, we like to start with 15, right? I mean, 25 to 35, combination of images, videos, carousel, testimonial, UGC, and all the things. So I'm just gonna take this one for the sake of this example, or let's just go with this one, which just shows, okay, here's what you're gonna get, because it's a lead ad, right? So I'm just gonna go here. So this one looks really good. This one, ideally, I want to resize it so that it actually matches the recommended dimension for this place, and because this is probably going to play inside the story or the reel. section. So I definitely want to have this, but primarily story, because this is an image, so it's story, and I want this to be very well positioned. So in this case, you kind of see um, the text, the main text, and the call to action. So that might work. I could also click on crop here and just kind of move this around if I want to just center it a little bit more. But working with client, we like to actually create this specifically for the format. And here we have the other format, which is more like horizontal. So again, here I can click on crop and I can just move it here or move it here, or, just go ahead and create this specifically for this dimension. So I'm just, for the sake of this example, I'm just gonna keep on going and click on next. Here is where I'm gonna use my headline. So you see here, add an option. So for instance, if I add here test, I can then add another. So you can add up to 5 headlines and 5 descriptions. We love to do that. We love to test as much description and headline as we can. And we like to have a combination of long form primary text and short form primary text. So here will be the primary text. Oh, yeah, of course, that's the website. How will we test? So we'll have, you see here, it says 1 to 5, again, 1 to 5, 1 to 5 for all of these guys. So we do like to test all the 5. We're gonna have a combination of short form primary text, long form, which is more story driven. We're also gonna use different angle. We might start with a big, bold, juicy promise. We might start with a pain point, a frustration. We might start with a hook that's all about what the customer says, just more story driven. We might start with talking more about the founder story. So we really like to test with those. We definitely always take advantage of those 5 that we are given by Facebook, because we want to see, okay, which angle resonates the most with our target audience. Now, once that's done, for an offer like this one, I will go with learn more. If I am, promoting a podcast, if we are getting people to maybe purchase something, we might go with listen now for the podcast. We might go with, we can also test sign up for a freebie or download. We could also say apply now if you're running a VSL funnel. But yeah, typically we like to learn more, is the one that we typically just go for. We might change, we might use another one if you're maybe running a retargeting campaign. That's where we might actually go with a more clear CTA than just learn more. Now I'm just gonna click on next. And here it says enhancement. I typically just skip the enhancement and I'm ready to go. So this is my ads. Of course, here you have your this primary text and headline and all the things. And browser ads on, I like to leave them as it is. There you have it. And then I'm going to make another video. I've made a video where I talk about how you can create ads easily with AI. And in that video, I go a bit more onto how to create your ad copy, how I do it using GPT, and how we go about, refining the ad copy once we have that first draft from the LLM. Something that you also want to be aware of is the UTM parameter, the URL parameter here. If you want to track, okay, which creative specifically is driving the most conversions, which campaign is driving the most conversion, this is really key, especially if you are using a platform like, Triple Well or High Rose or even Wicked Reports. Those do an incredible job at really allowing you to track these parameters in the best way possible. So that's it for this. I'm going to just go ahead and click publish, and my ad is going to be off and live. So what I will do here, I'll come here, and before I even click on publish, I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna click on this name of the ad set here. I'm gonna change this to kind of highlight what I'm saying here. So I call this product mockup. I call this maybe like image 01. And here I'll just say product mockup, right? So now I know, okay, this is this ad set. I mean, this is ad. And once I'm happy, I have all of my 5 ad copy, headline, and description. I just come here and I click on the little button. I click on duplicate. And then I just come here and I swap the image. maybe I add another image, or I add a video, or I add a carousel, whatever the case may be. Because my goal when I'm launching my campaign is I want to have at least here anywhere from 5 to 10 creatives. Also, it depends on how much I'm spending. That's very important. So if I'm spending, for instance, $50 a day, yes, I might go with 5, maybe 7 max creatives. If I'm spending $100 a day, of course, I can test even more. But if I'm just starting with $10 or $20, I might just start with 2, maximum 3 creatives. So you definitely want to adjust the volume depending on how much you are spending. It wouldn't make sense to have 10 creatives if you're just starting with a $20 budget. That will be too much for the algorithm to be able to properly attribute or show your ad to the right person. So hopefully that makes sense and you got value from this video. If that was the case, make sure to leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Leave me whatever comment you have in the comment section below, and yeah, I will be happy to. I will see you on the next episode. Make sure to download the guide to allow you to even get more insight and more strategy in what's working right now for our client when it comes to helping them scale with meta ads. I will see you in the next episode. Until then, take care.